Welcome back, Camille. On February 20th, I turned 20 years old. It was my golden birthday this year. You only get one of those in your lifetime, so it was a pretty special birthday. I'm one of those people that don't really like my birthday, really. I'm just a very sentimental person, and I oftentimes spend my birthday reflecting on the past year and seeing how much I've grown and everything. And oftentimes, I kind of get disappointed by that. So for the last about 7 years, I've cried on my birthday every year. I'm a Pisces, and I don't know, I'm just very sensitive like that. But this year is the first year in a long time that I have not cried on my birthday. I think it's really important to reflect on how far you've come and just how you've grown as a person. For the last 4 years, I have been a teen mom, and I am now no longer a teen mom. I always knew this day would come and one day I wouldn't be a teen mom anymore, but it feels so weird now that it's finally here. Ever since I was 16, I've taken on this role of being a mother. And when I first got pregnant, there was so many people telling me I couldn't do it. People doubting me, people telling me I should choose abortion, people telling me my life is going to be miserable if I carry through with this, and I've made it out of my teen years. And I think I did a pretty good job. I did the best I could with what I was given. I sacrificed a lot for them and made decisions that centered around their needs rather than mine. So I'm really proud of myself for how far I've made it. I carried that label with me and just be a large part of who I am. And I'm not that anymore. I'm not a teen mom anymore. So it's a very weird feeling to be 20 now. I love sharing my life in hopes to inspire others, and being a teen mom has been a huge part of that story. One of the big reasons I started my YouTube channel was to show other teen moms that if I can do it, they can do it. And I'm so grateful that I was able to be that person for so many people, being that light in a dark situation that so many people find themselves in. Over the years, I've gotten so many messages saying, Cameron, I'm pregnant, I'm 14, 15, 16, and I'm terrified, but you make me a little bit less terrified. And I don't think anyone could understand how much that fills my heart. And so as I carry on into this next year, I want to carry those years with me. And obviously, I'm going to continue to do that and to show that even at my age, even with my situation, I'm capable of being the best mother I can for my kids. But it's just kind of bittersweet. It's the end of an era, and I'm just so thankful for all of you. I've been through more than most people my age will ever have to go through. I've really lived a whole lifetime in these 20 years, and with that, I've learned a lot of lessons. So today I'm going to share with you guys 20 lessons I've learned in my 20 years. The first one is enjoy being young while you're young. For pretty much all of my life, I just wanted to grow up so fast. Even when I was a kid, I had an older sister and I just wanted to do everything she did, and I was so jealous. Like, how come she gets to do these things and I can't? And I was watching all these older people just having freedom and doing what they want to do. And I wanted that so badly. I think every kid just wants to be a grown-up. But if I could tell my younger self anything, it's just don't. I promise you don't want to grow up. It's not as fun as it seems. Your childhood, while it seems like it's so long and it drags on forever, in the grand scheme of things, you're only a kid for so long, and just enjoy that. Enjoy not having the responsibility. Enjoy being a kid. And even into my early adulthood, I was still rushing things. I was still wanting to grow up fast. I mean, I got married at 18. Looking back, I can now say that part of that decision was just wanting to be big, wanting to be seen as an adult. I am so happy that I made that decision because Landon wouldn't have gotten to experience being married at all. He died young, and I'm really grateful that he was able to have those life experiences he did, like having kids and getting married. Because not a lot of people who pass away at 19 get those things. They're robbed of those things. But now that I'm here, 20 years old, I can definitely say that I wish I would have just taken my time and not rushed things, and just went slower in life. So enjoy your youth while you can, or else one day you're gonna be old and wish you didn't spend your younger years wanting to be a grown-up. It is okay to not have a plan. Especially at this age, I feel like there's a lot of pressure to just know what you're doing next. Everyone's like, so what's your plan? And I just want to share that sometimes you don't have a plan, and that's okay. As of right now, I have no clue where I'm headed, but the world is my oyster, and we'll see. I'm very hopeful for the future, even though I don't know what it's going to look like exactly. And none of us do. A plan is just that. It's just a plan, and plans change all the time. So if you don't know where you're headed, that is perfectly okay. I don't either. Sometimes you just have to do things when you don't feel like it. I am a huge procrastinator, and all of my life I've just kind of been like, I'll get around to that when I feel like it. And then I just never feel like it, and I never do it. And that's prevented me from doing things that I actually really want to do. For example, I love writing, and in high school, because I had to write, I wrote all the time. But after coming out of high school, I just kind of stopped writing and stopped practicing that because I just didn't really feel like it. Even though that's something I know that I love to do, I was like, when the inspiration comes to me, when I feel like it, I'll start writing again. And I just never did until very recently. Don't just wait until you feel like it. Sometimes you have to just push yourself and do it. Know when to take a break and allow yourself to do that. That is one that is really hard for me. I'm the kind of person that just dives all into something. When I'm passionate about something, it's hard to stop me from doing that thing. And there's been times where I've just completely overworked myself and just put too much on my plate and have done way too much and neglected other areas of my life, all for the sake of not wanting to lose that momentum and lose that passion. But one of the most important things I've learned, I think, is just knowing when to stop and take a break and realizing that it's still going to be there when I'm back. I'm only going to be better than ever and recharged and ready to get back into it. Wear whatever you want. It does not matter. For the longest time, I was dressing to please others. And I love fashion, and I love getting dressed up, and I think it's an awesome way to express yourself. And so I hate that for so long I wasn't doing that, and I was worrying about what others thought of what I wore. And I'm so glad that I've finally come to that realization and started wearing whatever I want, whatever makes me happy. And now getting dressed in the morning is one of my favorite things. It makes me so happy because now I own a ton of clothes that I really love. And honestly, sometimes it's one of the only things that gets me out of bed in the morning is knowing I get to put on a cute outfit. That'll make me feel good. Do people say stuff about my outfits? Yeah, but it really doesn't matter. And the way I think of it, if Sarah is roasting my outfit and Sarah's just like, oh my gosh, what is she wearing, blah blah blah, she's got something to say about it. Do I like Sarah's outfit? No, it's not something I personally would wear. And so she's thinking how she dresses for Sarah, and Sarah's only capable of seeing in that scope of, oh well, this is how I like to dress and that's not how I like to dress. So of course she's gonna judge it. But if I don't even like Sarah's outfit, why do I care if she likes my outfit? Because obviously Sarah doesn't have a great sense of fashion, in my opinion. So why would I let someone who just doesn't get it say stuff about my outfit? Why would I care? Obviously she doesn't get it. And one of my favorite sayings is that if someone isn't talking crap about your outfit, then it's not fashion. My favorite things to wear are things that are unique and turn heads and just something you wouldn't see every day. So of course it's going to do just that. It's going to turn heads and get people talking. On the other side of that coin though, something that I've had a hard time discovering that I just now am starting to realize is that it's also okay to be kind of basic. Like I said, I love things that are unique and different, but sometimes I will just reject everything that's not that, just for the sake of not wanting to be basic. But sometimes things are basic for a good reason, because it's actually good. That's why a lot of people like it. So for me, especially in high school, I just wouldn't listen to someone because everyone listens to them, or I wouldn't wear something because everyone wears that. But even that is limiting yourself, and you don't want to limit yourself ever when it comes to your fashion, your music, the things you like to do. It's okay to do what everyone else is doing sometimes. You don't always have to be special. I don't know, that's just something that's hard for me because I've always just strived on not being like everyone else, and that's what has filled me up and made me feel like an individual. So if you struggle with that too, just remember, no one's gonna judge you if you listen to Taylor Swift. Hair grows back. Do whatever you want to your hair. Shave it off, color it, cut it. It is just hair. My hair has always been my security blanket. As you can tell, I have very long hair. And I put a lot of my self-identity to my appearance, especially my hair. And I feel like a different person when my hair is different. But just remember, at the end of the day, it's hair, and it's gonna grow back. My hair grows ridiculously fast though, so I feel like it's something that's kind of easier for me to say. Even if it grows slow, it will grow back. Capture as many memories as you can. Our memories are so valuable, and sometimes that's the only thing we have of a person. And as we get older, things start to get hazy, and we don't remember everything we once did. So I say, capture every moment that you can. Even if you don't share it anywhere, capture it, keep it somewhere, and one day you're gonna look back and be so happy that you did. I know I'm so happy to have so many videos of my daughter with her dad. As you guys know, that time they had was very limited, and I captured a lot of it. Remember to live in the moment still, but try your best to capture those special memories. Everything happens for a reason. There is so many times in my life where I've looked back and so much has made sense, where I was once very confused. And it's this kind of thing where you look back and you're like, I get it now. That needed to happen, so this could happen, so that could happen. I believe that everything is connected, but some things I'll never know why they had to happen. Because maybe it affected someone else's life more than it affected mine, and it had an impact in that way, and I'm not able to see that impact, but it still happened. And I truly believe that every little tiny thing, no matter how upsetting that thing might make you feel in the moment, just know that there is a bigger picture, and everything just really, really needs to happen the way it happens in order to get where you're going. Change is really scary, but sometimes you just have to embrace it. So much has changed in my life so fast, and it was terrifying. It is so scary not knowing where you're going or what's gonna happen with your life. But in that change, even though it was scary, I felt this feeling of opportunity and excitement. And oftentimes we grow the most when we're changing. I mean, change is growth. And sometimes it's painful. It's growing pains, but you'll never get anywhere if you stay in the same place and never have any change. Tell people that you love them while you still can. There is several people in my life that I wish I could tell I love them just one more time. It's scary, but you never know what's gonna happen. Share as much love as you can. If someone pops in your head and you're thinking about them, let them know you're thinking about them. My friends are probably annoyed because I tell them all day, every day, I love you, I miss you, I'm thinking about you. But you can never say it enough, and you don't want to regret not saying it. Keep in mind how fast time goes and how little things are gonna matter later on. Something someone told me once was, all right, sit down and think about it. Is this thing gonna matter in a week? Yeah, okay. Is it gonna matter in a month? Probably not. Are you even gonna remember it in a year? No, probably not. So if you're not even gonna remember it in a year, and a year goes by pretty fast, then don't let it consume you. You know, whatever sucks now, it's gonna suck now, but it's not gonna suck forever. No one can read your mind. That was a hard one for me. It really just comes down to learning good communication skills and letting people know what's on your mind. Even like just sitting in a room with people and observing. I'm such an observer, and I'm really quiet around groups. And so I'll just sit there and be thinking, and in my mind, I'm going along with these conversations because I'm having my own thoughts about it and whatever, but I'm not saying those thoughts. And then someone turns to me and is like, Cameron, why are you so quiet? And I'm like, am I being quiet? I thought I was participating, but it was all just in my head. And especially when there's something that's bothering you, you're gonna have to communicate that in order to make any progress. No one's gonna be able to tell exactly what you're thinking, no matter how much you want them to. That's just not how it works. Learn how to communicate, and I promise your life will be so much easier. No one is thinking about the dumb thing that you said because they're too busy thinking about the dumb thing that they said that you don't remember. I can't tell you how much time I've spent just thinking like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe I said that. Like, what was I thinking? Whatever. Just replaying embarrassing times in my head. And it goes back to, like, sometimes I'll think about something that happened when I was in, like, first grade. And I'm like, no one remembers this but me. Why am I sitting here thinking about it? There's no point in feeling embarrassed. Everyone is so wrapped up in their own life, in their own mind. Do you sit down and think about embarrassing things that happened to someone else? I mean, maybe sometimes, yeah, but it's okay. Like, it matters more to you than it does to anyone else. So if you just don't let it matter that much to you, it doesn't matter. Don't worry too much about labels. You don't have to put yourself into a box. That goes for so many different things. People ask me all the time, like, Cameron, like, what's your vibe? What's your aesthetic? Are you, like, alt? Are you, like, indie? Are you, like, hippie? And I'm just like, I'm just me, guys. I'm gonna wear a different aesthetic every day. I'm gonna confuse the heck out of everyone. I'm not gonna put myself into a box and label myself as one thing ever. Humans are so complex, and I feel like labels sometimes can just make us small and confine us into this space where we shouldn't be. We are made to flourish and change and try different things and be different. I'm just not a huge fan of labels in general, and I just don't think you should stress too much about labels. It is okay to stand your ground and say no. I'm still bad at this, but I'm working on it and I'm aware of it, and I've always said that self-awareness is key. Obviously, you have to follow that self-awareness with actions, but the first step is knowing when there's a problem and being self-aware of it. And I have a hard time saying no to people. I am a people pleaser. I want to make everyone happy. I'll do everything I can to create the least amount of tension. And so when someone's asking me to do something, yeah, sure. It's okay to say no. It's okay to stand your ground. You're not rude or anything for it. And the people who are supposed to be in your life are still going to love you even if you turn them down sometimes. There's so many situations I can think of where it's like, okay, I should have said no then, but I didn't. And then I should have said no then, and I still didn't. And it just led me down this horrible path. And I didn't even want to be there in the first place. And if I would have just have learned how to say no from the very beginning, I wouldn't have been there. It's okay to say no and to let people down. And sometimes it'll hurt other people's feelings, but you need to put your feelings in a priority because you're the only one out there who's going to do that for yourself. Making other people happy is going to make you happy in turn. You still have to know when to say no and when you have too much on your plate and when you can't do something for someone. But when you can do something to make someone happy, do it. That's the best way to fill your cup, is to bring joy to others. Try your best to make an effort to not just think about yourself all the time and make other people happy. It is okay to grow apart from someone. You just have to take it as a lesson and go. As people, we're always changing. We're always evolving. I am not the person I was 6 months ago, and I'm a completely different person than who I was a year ago and the year before that. And sometimes people just grow apart. Sometimes you thought you had more in common with someone, and as you get to know them more, you realize it's not a relationship that you want to feed into. For whatever reason, sometimes you just don't work with someone anymore. Something's not working there. And you need to learn how to respectfully distance yourself. It's important to reflect and learn lessons from that relationship, but it's also important to know when it's time to stop. Being angry is a huge waste of time and energy. Looking back on my middle school years and some of my high school years, I was just such an angry, bitter little person. I don't know why. I just had this anger inside of me, and clearly it was from other issues, but I was projecting it onto all these people. No one even did anything personally to me, but I just was angry at a lot of things for not good reasons. And while anger is sometimes an important, valid emotion, you can't live in anger, and no one likes an angry person, and all you're gonna do is push everyone out. And usually when there's a lingering anger like that, there's some underlying issues that you need to address. Almost every angry person out there was hurt by some other angry, bitter person, and it's just this chain reaction where there's just a trail of angry, hurt people. And hurt people hurt people. So when I post a picture of me being happy and smiling, and I get a comment of someone just being mean and angry, I just have to remember that that anger comes from somewhere, and that place is not me. And the 20th lesson I've learned in my 20 years, you need to be able to take criticism and listen to those trying to help you. Obviously, there's a difference between constructive criticism and people just bashing on you. But I'm sensitive, and I take a lot of things personally, even when they're not meant to be taken personally. Someone's just trying to help. Especially in my teen years. I say that as if I didn't just leave my teen years, but kind of more my earlier teen years. I did not want to listen to any adult. They had no clue what they were talking about. They couldn't help me. They don't get it. And now, looking back on some of the things that the adults in my life were trying to make clear to me, I get it. They were just trying to help. And it's one of those things where it's almost impossible to get a teenager to understand and not take it personally and not think you're just looking down on them as some little teenager. That's something that I feel like as a teen mom, I'm gonna be able to do better at, because there's not a huge age gap between me and my kids, whereas, you know, when an older parent tries to teach this life lesson to a younger teenager and there's this huge age gap, it's easy for the teenager to just be like, oh, you don't get it at all. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. But when my kids are teenagers, I really want to make an effort to not belittle them because of that. A lot of adults will try to make people feel small in order to teach them a lesson. And I think that's why it was really hard for me to take those lessons, because they weren't being delivered in the right way. Instead, they were being like, you don't know what you're talking about because you're just a teenager. And while that is true, I didn't know what I was talking about because I was just a teenager. It wasn't getting through to me because all they were doing was making me feel dumb. And at that point, I was refusing to listen. So even though at times there can be this huge disconnect between an older person and a younger person and just trying to help them and teach them a lesson, do your best trying to take that and understand it. But then again, sometimes there's lessons where you just have to learn them yourself, and you're not going to realize that everyone else was right until you're older and you realize it for yourself. I hope this was helpful. I've spent 2 decades gathering these lessons, and I hope by 40 in 20 more years I'll have even more lessons to share. While age isn't always a great way to determine someone's maturity, you really do just gain wisdom with age. And I know, being 20, that I am not half as wise as some of the older people in my life, but one day I hope to be, because there are 40-year-olds out there who aren't as wise as me, who are just living with the mindset of a 15-year-old who just never really grow. Growth is just so important. All we can do is try our best to grow every day and take time like this to reflect on what we've learned. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Camille?